This working? And I'm live. What's up, everybody? Jez7780. What grinds my gears? Episode 53. Microsoft is the new Sega. Basically. So here we are. So another rumor. another rumor. Another thing going on. We had the Scalebound one that happened. That rumor didn't get denied yet. Still out there. And then now we got this other one. What's up, homie? What's up, Daniel? What's up, Andy? How you guys doing? And, it's just time. It's just time. There's no more grinds my gears on Xbox do better. Okay? So I'm taking this channel in a whole, it's a different direction. There's no more ranting. Because there's no more Xbox as we know it. Like, it's beyond this. And we knew this was happening. I knew it. But I do think, though, if they're going to venture into this realm, they need to do better. Definitely delivering on software. But there's no more just angry and getting them to be what they were, because that's where this whole started from. This started from somebody who saw them come back from an Xbox original, Xbox Live, innovating on online play, and then seeing competition and drive and swagger in the Xbox 360 age, and watch them grow and deliver games and deliver features that nobody was doing, and they were doing it better than anybody else, and having that swagger and getting IP onto there, stealing it from Sony, taking it from them. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Andy. Taking it from them and being aggressive, getting Metal Gear, getting Final Fantasy, that 360 age. And then they kind of went casual with the Wii and try to broaden their horizon. And then they went complete casual with the beginning of the Xbox and making it the one only entertainment device. What's up, Jemiah? How you doing, man? And, we'll rant. This is what grinds my gears, but it's just going to be no more ranting about let's do it better. Like have them go back to what they were. And I think that is where a lot of kind of the Xbox fan base is being pulled back and forth, because there are people there that want Xbox to be what they were in the 360 era, being competitive, being leaders, leading the industry with great games and features that nobody has seen before, and driving and making us, the gamer, the end user, being the best, And then there's the other camp that's sort of like, we'll just take this and, I just love whatever Xbox does. And the thing is that, you know what? This is great for a lot of us. Exactly. What's up, PlayStation Podcast? Yeah, like they're just adhering to everything they want, because there are people that want both. I wanted them to be competitive and in that way. And you know what? They basically are Sega. Like, I think we have to admit here, if this rumor is true, that we have to admit that Nintendo and Sony have done it again. Nintendo and Sony have beaten Microsoft, and this is their defeat strategy. They defeated Sega with the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, Dreamcast was really a great device, but Sega just couldn't keep up the hardware to match what Nintendo and Sony were doing. Even though Nintendo was able to survive GameCube and Nintendo 64, but Nintendo came back, and Nintendo just has that kind of magic that they do that stuff. And Sony just killed them. So I think if this happens and Microsoft becomes the app that we think, that's it. Nintendo and Sony have beaten Microsoft. They beat them. And I think we just got to come to the realization that that's the truth. Like, they were beaten. Microsoft was beaten. They could talk about the strategy that this will be dominating. They're just going to be an app. And you know what? That's great, because if you own a Switch, you could play Xbox games if this is true. And I guarantee you, it will come to PlayStation eventually. And I think Sony will put Xbox on their PlayStation if Microsoft just offers solely exclusives. I don't think that Sony, if Microsoft's going to offer multi-plat games on their service, Sony's not going to allow that on their platform to compete with. You could play the same games on Sony's console that you could play on a Microsoft subscription. It's competing with their own ecosystem. So I can't see Sony doing that. But if Microsoft just makes Game Pass about Microsoft exclusive games and doesn't do third-party or things like that, and does games that Sony's not selling, I could see Game Pass going on Sony's platform soon. But that's not going to be for a while. And also, too, I think Microsoft has to stop making hardware. And I know I've seen that people go, well, Microsoft's going to probably announce Anaconda and all that stuff at E3, you know? And the thing is that, okay. They did the same thing with Windows Phone. They kept releasing another year or two of Windows Phone hardware when basically they weren't supporting that with apps or anything like that. And they just faded it out. So just because Microsoft is making hardware, what you need to realize is that Microsoft is not poised to sell. Like, the thing is that if you're a developer, Microsoft is not targeting anybody with this Anaconda hardware. They're targeting, with Lockhart and Anaconda, next generation, Microsoft is targeting the creme de la creme of Xbox fans or people that want that. They're not opening up they're not trying to sell the console to the masses. They are targeting specifically the people that just don't want to play on PC and don't like PlayStation, don't like Nintendo, and just prefer Xbox. Because that box that they're selling next generation, like, I'm not very excited for it, because any content that's going on that box can be playable possibly on a Switch, if this rumor is true, and on PC, which we know is guaranteed. So the specialty of that next hardware is really not going to be utilized, and it's not going to have content that's going to be specific to that hardware. And what people don't realize is, like, well, Microsoft is winning money, they're getting money. But what people don't realize is that if you're a developer, and that Xbox Anaconda and that Xbox Lockhart is not going to be sold, because I can tell you right now, if Microsoft keeps going with this strategy, the next generation of Xbox hardware is going to sell less than this generation of Xbox hardware. That's the truth of it, because Microsoft is not targeting to sell that specific hardware. It's going to sell less. And if it sells less than how the Xbox One X and the Xbox One has sold, developers will not be making specific exclusive content for that hardware. So if you are an owner of that hardware, you're going to miss out on probably timed exclusives, because to Microsoft, why would they do a timed exclusive if their content is everywhere? What are they paying timed for? Just to keep it off Sony's platform? It makes no sense to invest in that. And they said they will not invest in this. And then you look at, why would they buy an exclusive? Who's going to put an exclusive game on that hardware? They're not going to. Possibly on the service, if Microsoft's service does. And I think that's what they're hoping, is that their service takes off, that maybe people will want to put games on Xbox Game Pass day one. Now, I don't think it's going to be the big third-party publishers, but it might be, it might be these indie games or as a distribution platform. But what this does is that I feel that to the people that are diehard Xbox fans, the people that line up at E3 for FanFest, this stings, because nobody's going to celebrate Xbox the app. You know what I mean? That whole kind of culture of celebrating Xbox, if it becomes ubiquitous and is all over the place, there's really not, I don't think people are going to be like, the app. Like, you can have people with Nintendo Switches there, and it kind of defeats the whole, like, console war, basically. It defeats the console war because Microsoft has become platform agnostic. And that's just the way it is. And if you told somebody, the 80s gamer and the 90s gamer, that Mario and Sonic were going to be in a game together, you would be like, are you kidding me? Just like we're on the cusp of a Microsoft game. Possibly you could play Gears of War 5 on the Switch with the Pro Controller. with the Nintendo Pro Controller. That is crazy. And for Nintendo, this is just a hand-me-out. Nintendo is just Reggie retired because I bet you Reggie's just sailing into the sunset now. He's just like, shh, we got everything. Because now, basically, Microsoft putting Game Pass on the Switch brings all the third-party games to Nintendo that they probably would never get. Now, it is a huge, financially for Microsoft, this is huge. This is amazing because that is an untapped market. Not only just with Microsoft exclusives, but there's a lot of third-party games that never would be on a Switch that Microsoft could bring it there, just like they want to bring it to a phone and to an iPad. It's amazing, you know? It really, it is smart financially. But what you did in the process of looking at this finance is that you really kind of hurt the people that put you in the position that you are in. You kind of hurt the fans that lined up, the Xbox bleed green, get the jacket. You really kind of took them because you basically diluted them and said, hey, what you liked and what you grew and your foundation of being an Xbox fan has turned into, basically, we're going to shatter your dreams and take whatever special things that you had and we're going to spread it out and let the competitors, the competition experience that. And unfortunately, Microsoft's at a point right now where they're not delivering quality games. So the thing is that you really have to ask yourself, are we going to, who's going to subscribe for an Xbox Game Pass to play mediocre first-party games? And maybe they switch their quality around, but their recent quality has been bad. And like I said, it doesn't matter where they put their Xbox app. If there is content on there that is just mediocre and unique, and I'm talking them competition-wise with Amazon and Google. Because if Amazon and Google come out and they're like, well, you could stream all Ubisoft games, you could stream Rockstar, you could stream Verizon says you could stream all these multi-platform games, and Microsoft's like, well, you could stream multi-platform games. The differentiation is going to be the content. It's going to be the exclusive content, just like you could subscribe for Hulu or Netflix. You know, Hulu has The Handmaid's Tale. You want to watch that exclusive content, then you go there. You want to watch Stranger Things, you go to Netflix. It's the exclusive content that differs the two ones. Look at Disney. They had a partnership with Disney on Netflix. They ended it. Hulu picked it right up. And Disney's doing their own thing. So you got to look at the content is where it drives the subscribers. And also price. Price is going to be big on that too. But if Microsoft's just offering multiplats, so is Amazon, so is Google. You know, Google and Amazon bought some studios. They bought Adam Boyce's one. And Google, I'm sure, has tons of developers that want to make games for their system. Even though their Google TV and all that other stuff really didn't pick up. But you got to look at Google and Amazon going to come with exclusives. They're not just going to say, guys, you know that game they playing on your PlayStation? Yeah, you can play it on Chrome. That's not enough. Google's going to come in with some exclusives. I'm sure they're going to announce it. They're going to come in with exclusives. So's Amazon. Oh, Disney owns Hulu. Okay, there you go. But Disney had the partnerships with Netflix. Like they'll put all those games on there. The movies. I think Ant-Man and Wasp are the last one. What's up, Meds? How you doing, man? But it's going to be the content. And right now, Microsoft's content is lacking. Like their first-party unique content is not there. And you could put it on anything, but if people don't want to play Crackdown at a 60, because it's just not a great game, then it's not a well-received game. And nobody's going to subscribe to play it. And that's what Microsoft has to do, and that's why I think they bought those studios just to make content for Game Pass and probably drive the exclusivity and drive the content. And that's great for Xbox Game Pass, the app. So I think next year's E3, you're going to be Xbox the app E3. Like it's basically that's what it is. It's an app. And it probably is going to be the last one to take it is going to be Sony, because if they're going to offer multi-plats, Sony's not going to have that compete with their store. But Nintendo, this is a wide open thing. We'll do, man. We'll do. I'll check it. But the thing is like, what is, if I'm not fighting for Xbox to console anymore because it's done. It's done. They're never going to be the 360 era as long as Satya is there and as long as they're hitting an untapped market. Because I'm telling you, this is going to be financially successful for Microsoft, which could be good. And I think that's what Jez Corden says. And the fact is that basically, maybe they put that money into more games. Who knows? Or they take that money and cash out and go buy, LinkedIn like they did or something like that. Who knows? But all I know is that basically Microsoft has become the new Sega. Like that is it. They are basically Sega. Sega tried to get out with hardware with the Saturn and the Dreamcast, but they just cannot beat the PlayStation 2. And Microsoft cannot beat the PlayStation 4. And if Sony just sticks to their game plan and says PlayStation 5, all your content, they're just going to take that 100 million, keep growing it, and bring that over right to the PlayStation 5. The Switch is growing. Look how quickly the Switch is growing in sales over the Xbox console that's been out for over 5 years and released iterations to the hardware. Still cannot outsell the Switch, which has one platform that is $300. The Switch does not have different variations. They don't even have friggin' bundles, nonetheless. Not many. Xbox has bundles every friggin' weekend that they have to liquidate their Fallout bundle to make room for their Anthem bundle. And they'll probably have to get rid of their Anthem bundle to make. And the bets that they're making on the bundles, shit, man, can you pick a worse lineup of games? Whoever's picking these games, I don't know what. They just must have they must be the mooch from, they must be Eddie Mush from the Bronx Tale. I don't want him looking at me. Put him in the bathroom. Put him in the bathroom. He is the mooch. Eddie Mush. Eddie Mush. Don't look at me. I don't want your face looking at me when you roll the dice. Put him in the bathroom. Remember when the guy bets on the horse and then on the Bronx Tale, he's like, go, go, go. And then Eddie Mush comes down. He voted for the same horse. And the guy rips up his ticket. He goes, we lost. We lost. Yeah. And that's, and you know what? Whoever's selecting these games is just, hey, man, I don't know what their luck is. But the key is going to be content. It's going to be content. You're right. You're right, Savage. You're right. He says the difference is that Sega didn't have a choice, while it seems that Microsoft is choosing to go third party. You're totally right. This is all them. This is all them. Like this is their choice to do this because this is the way to go to be financially stable in the gaming and make gaming relevant for them because they can't win in the hardware space. And I think that's where, if this is true, you got to see this. So when we come to it, we just have to accept it. He woke up with the pony head in his bed. You just have to accept it. And I accept it. It's it. You know what? But it excited me. I got a Switch. I'm like, oh wow. Like, they just proved to me that I don't really need to invest in hardware. They can announce 3 Anacondas in the E3. I just think it's hilarious that this rumor of their games going to the Switch and then them saying like E3, we're going to announce new hardware. Who's excited? Maybe the top 10% of Xbox gamers. Like, if somebody's like, hey, you can play Gears 5 on your phone, they're going to be like, okay, cool, man. You mean I don't have to buy a $500 console? Nah, man, you can just play it on your phone. It's like, oh, cool. And that's a win for them. But what it's not a win for is those that want unique Xbox content for a specific piece of hardware. The whole reason why a console was built. The console exists to give unique game development for it. It's a fixed hardware. It's fixed closed environment. That's why a console always exists. And a console, and you could say if the Switch and PlayStation, I say this all the time, if they were failing in sales and like console sales were at all-time low and we're sitting here going, oh, the console's dead and all this stuff, the Sony's going to hit PlayStation 2 numbers. They're going to surpass them. Console sales are the biggest that they ever been. And the Switch just coming in and showing their success in an amount of year and over 2 years. is proof that people want dedicated gaming machines. They want to play games on dedicated devices. And Microsoft knows that. That's why they're going to still make an Anaconda. That's why they're still going to make hardware. But we all know that that hardware that they're making is not the driver of their gaming business. That hardware out there is just to satisfy a small percentage of people that possibly just want to stick around with Xbox. And when you think about the target group of that console, and it's the same thing that he said with the X. Like the X is the creme de la creme. Like those people are the people that care. Like that's what it is. And you see, like the X did not sell enough to really push it to the top MPD because it's really not catered to everybody. It's a targeted group. And they're going to have a tiered system. They'll have a high and a low of the next generation consoles. So it's accessible to people that don't want to spend $500 or $600. And then you'll have the $500-600 Anaconda. And then you'll have the Lockhart that does that. And that's their MO. And they'll still do that. Just like you have a premium phone, a flagship phone, and a medium phone. You know, you have the foldable Galaxy phone that's $2,000, and then you got the S10 that's $600. And Microsoft's going to do the same generation. And it is what it is. The only thing is that I feel like when we talk about Microsoft as the new Sega, Sega did have a lot of good IP. And I think Microsoft has really hurt their IP a lot this generation. I think the one IP they did grow was Killer Instinct, but I think they hurt Crackdown. I said this on the last show. Crackdown IP is hurt. They really need a jump start to, Battletoads. Who knows if that IP is going to resurrect itself with that new game? We haven't seen anything about it, which, Microsoft has a thing with like not showing games. They like to keep us in the dark, and then 2 weeks before the game show, it just shows up, and everybody's like, "Ugh." That's kind of Microsoft's MO. It shows up on an Inside Xbox, and we're like, "Ugh." We haven't seen this game for a year. Ugh. This is what it looks like, and they kind of stealth release it. And then the other rumor part is that Ori and Cuphead are going to be going natively. So Microsoft actually going to publish these two games to the Switch, Ori and Cuphead, which, they already published Minecraft. And that's the thing. And I have to say right here, Minecraft ruined Microsoft. Minecraft turned Microsoft into Sega. And now Minecraft, and I'm not talking as a business, because, if you celebrate that Microsoft makes money, great for you if you own stocks and stuff like that. I don't know who's Savage. I don't know who's publishing Hellblade. It said Ninja Theory. I don't know if it's self-published, because they said it was in effect already, but I don't know who's publishing Hellblade. I went to it. It said that Ninja Theory was publishing it, but who knows? But obviously they're going to publish probably Ori and Cuphead, or have somebody else do it, just like they did with Sunset Overdrive. They had they had, what was it? THQ Nordic publish a whole bunch of their games, their IP, or their games on Steam. Or they did like with Disney Rush Adventures, things like that. They made them publish it all. So they might pay somebody to publish it. But this is, they have turned third party. Now, they won't be full third party because of probably Sony not allowing it, but it's Sony not allowing it. Microsoft wants to be there. And Sony's going to have a big hand over their head, especially if Sony holds on to this gaming market that it has been with 100 million consoles and that growing and growing and growing. That's going to be a huge holdout for Microsoft, because if Microsoft wants to reach 2 billion people, I don't think mobile gaming is going to just take off for Gears of War on a phone. But if you bring Gears of War and if these games start showing polish, they're going to really have to be banging on Sony's door to get their game on there. I don't know what Microsoft did with the Ori IP. I don't know, but there are rumors that it's going to be there. And this whole Nintendo, Sony, Xbox rumor. But I think the biggest thing that hurts Xbox fans in this is that Xbox console owners are not getting anything back. And that's, I think, the biggest kick in the face, that the Xbox owners are not getting anything back. Like, you're not going to get Kirby or Mario or Link running around on your Xbox, or even in Game Pass, nonetheless. Nintendo is holding on to their IP. And like I said, take from them everything, give them nothing. That's Microsoft is handing out Xbox Live SDK to an infantile Switch Online that's just growing. Who was there to help Microsoft when they launched Xbox Live? They were on their own. You imagine if Xbox Live came out and it just started, and meanwhile, like, say, I don't even know who was big at the time for online. But yeah, right? Yeah, expected things back. It's not an NBA trade. Microsoft is giving hand-me-outs. Trust me, this is hand-me-outs. But think about back when Xbox Live launched. Like, if there was like a big structure that already had online and had a whole friends invite, all this other stuff, and said, hey, Xbox, you want to play with all our friends over here? You don't, would just let us put our stuff on your console. Nintendo was sitting there with not even a year and a half into their online. It has its bumps, man. You can't talk, chat, and stuff. But Microsoft is just opening up their arms like an open platform, going, hey, all those years of live and subscription, here you go, Nintendo. Just put it right there and jumpstart Nintendo's online. There's a need from Nintendo, and there's a want from Microsoft to expand. Business-wise, it makes total sense. But is it fair to the person who pays $60 or so a month to pay on a console? And the big thing is like, is the guy on the Switch just pays for Game Pass for $10 a month and can play Gears of War streaming to his Switch? Or does he have to subscribe to Xbox Live? And you're right, Eric Smith. And that's the thing. Like, I think you're right. Microsoft sees this as an opportunity, but I agree. And this is the same reason why, and I'm going to read what Eric Smith says, but this is the same reason why these games are not taking off on PC. That Windows Store is a big problem. But this whole venture into bringing our exclusives to PC, Gears of War 4, it didn't do well on PC. They were adding Xbox people forcefully on the playlists about 4 or 5 months into Gears of War 4. It didn't blow up because people don't want to really play, I guess, a third-person shooter on PC. I don't know, but there's a mentality there. And there's a mentality, you're right, what Eric Smith says. He goes, I'm sure all these Nintendo fans can't wait to get their hands on Halo, Gears, and Forza, all games they don't give a shit about because they play Nintendo in the first place. They want those exclusives. You're right. Just the reason why a Nintendo fan doesn't sit here and whine and cry because they don't get third-party games, really. Like, that's not why you buy a Nintendo. It's like an accepted failure. It's like, you don't buy a Switch to play the latest third-party games. You know it's not going to go there. You never buy a Nintendo console to think that you're going to get every game that comes out. There's a mentality there. There's a culture. And Microsoft's going to have to try real hard to break those cultures. Same thing with cell phones. Like I said before, you just want to pull your phone out and just play touch games and you know, touch games and stuff like that. Do you think Angry Birds, if it released on a console day one, it would be as popular as it was because it released on mobile? It was the tactile. It was the pulling, the touching of the screen like a touch game. That's what really excelled Angry Birds because of the mobile. It was easy to pop out and play. That game would have failed miserably on a console. It would. But there's a mentality. And that's why when Phil talks this wonderful world of everybody plays where they want to play, the thing is that there are cultures and there are specific input devices on all these different platforms. The Switch, the mobile, yourself, the Xbox, the PC. Like, there are different input devices and different cultures. Age of Empires takes off on PC. People might play it on console, but World of Warcraft, that's a PC game. Like, if they try to put that on a console, And that's the thing. Gamers are very fickle. Gamers have their culture based on to the platform they play on. Now, console, you have your culture there. There's a console wars and stuff like that, but you're a console player. Console, PC, mobile, they're trying to bring them together. But it's going to be, it's going to take very few games to do it. Minecraft was one to do it. I haven't seen Microsoft do anything but Minecraft to try to tap into that market. Minecraft transcended different input devices, different things. Fortnite sort of did it. But Microsoft didn't make Minecraft what it was. Microsoft just kept the lights on and threw servers like that behind it. So I would love to see Microsoft, as much as they talk about Minecraft, why don't they make something from scratch that is analogous to a Minecraft model? Well, they're trying to make the Minecraft model, but analogous to a success of Minecraft. And maybe they thought that was Sea of Thieves. Maybe. And I agree, Eric. Like, I think it's over. Like, it's basically, it is Sega. Like, it is done. Microsoft is going to be an app. And that's great financially for them. And he says that, Eric says, like, honestly, I think that Xbox as a console is in trouble. It's only flagship titles like Halo, Gears, and in a world of Apex, Fortnite, and The Division. What's up, Mog? How you doing, man? And, Nintendo's going to compete with Sony Savage. Like that, we're back to where we were when in 2001, 2000? The death of the Dreamcast. Like, it's done. Like, your Anaconda is going to be your Dreamcast device. I bet you it'll be an amazing console. But actually, I'm giving it too much credit, actually. I'll take that back. I think Anaconda is going to be a nice piece of hardware. I think Microsoft has defined the hardware. But Dreamcast had a lot of good games. A lot of great content. Which I don't know if Anaconda is going to have that. At least on that front. I'm excited. I think it's very interesting that Microsoft won release the next generation with a Halo. Like, that's something they missed out on 2 generations. But is it going to have the same impact as if that Halo was only on an Anaconda? That's what you got to ask yourself. How impactful is Halo Infinite if guys could play it on their PC at midnight, if guys could play it on their Xbox One at midnight through backwards compatibility, through streaming, if people could play that on their Switch at midnight, if people could play that on their cell phones at midnight, is there going to be a drive? Not bad for Halo, but is there going to be a need to go purchase the console? Probably not. That's why I anticipate the next generation of Xbox consoles not to sell more than this generation, because the desire and need and demand for an Xbox console is diminishing with every move that they make to be platform agnostic. And because the console would be diminishing, no developers are going to develop specifically targeted for that console. And nobody's going to want to put a timed exclusive or give something special, something unique to that console, because Microsoft is platform agnostic. And that's the reason why, if you look at the exclusives and look at just what Sony gets by default, a lot of the stuff they get by default is because they are selling at such a rate higher than their competition that, and the death of Cliffy B's studio and stuff like that, he came out and said it. Like, I don't have it to make a game for one platform. I'm going to put it on the one that sells the most. Now, his studio failed and the game was not that good, but his justification for putting Lawbreakers on a PlayStation was because it sold the most. That's how developers think. Like, they're going to take years of development time and they're going to make sure that it is on the platform that sells the most and target it optimized for that platform. Another reason why we see Digital Foundry things where PlayStation Pro is still hanging in there, even though the X is so much more powerful, is because games are being developed with the Pro and Sony, the lead platform of development. Remember, that was always the big deal. That was the reason why the 360 killed the PlayStation 3. Nobody wanted to be bothered with the cell processor because the PlayStation 3 wasn't selling as much as the Xbox 360 early on. And Xbox 360 had a lead. So the architecture of the 360 was the lead platform for development of multi-platform games. So all your multi-platform games ran the best on the 360 because nobody wanted to take time to optimize for the cell. Likewise, ESRAM hurt Xbox development, and PlayStation, it's selling as quickly as it did, made developers target the PlayStation 4 for the lead platform, and Xbox was not being bothered with the ESRAM, and that's why games were not optimized for it. And they had low resolutions, plus it was weaker. And there was no parity between the two. They were basically that different. And now you're seeing with the X, and the PlayStation is so dominant, and more so the Slim, that it is the lead platform for development. And if Sony could carry everything over to the PlayStation 5 will be the lead platform. And it probably will be because people are buying that hardware to make specific games for that hardware. And Microsoft will be making hardware, but everything that they're doing, their services that they're offering, will be elsewhere, so that developers will probably either want to buy into Microsoft's ecosystem, but they're probably not going to develop specifically for that hardware because that hardware is not the focus of Microsoft. So that is the biggest thing. And I think Daniel says it. I'm going to address Eric's thing, but like even games at Xbox marketing are failing. And that's the biggest problem. I'm going to tell you right now. The biggest problem Microsoft faces is that all this new venture with becoming third-party published, like putting games on the Switch, and it is going to be mad confusing to the average consumer. Going, well, wait a second. That $500 or $400 platform, you mean that everything that's playable on there, I could play it on my son's Switch at home? Yeah. Okay. And it's going to be really difficult for Microsoft's marketing, which has been very bad, to try to push the console. Now, Eric says, thoughts on how interesting it is. Over the past generation, Xbox fans slowly become Microsoft fans. And you know what, Eric? That's exactly the point. That is exactly the point. Those people that probably will go to E3 and stuff like that, they're basically going to be Microsoft fans. So for those who didn't like Windows, but like the Xbox console and what the Xbox brand was, those are the people that are being pushed aside. Those are the people that are just going to stick around, and maybe Microsoft's hoping that they will stick around with their Xbox loyalty to buy their next console. But that's a very small group that Microsoft is targeting when you look at the grand scheme of how many gamers there are out there. Like what they really should be trying to do is pull from the competition. Rather than giving to the competition, they should be trying to pull people from the competition to their platform. That's what they did with the 360. And you do that with great games. You do that with exclusives. You do that with great deals. But that's not the Microsoft. And they have just basically opened up their doors and just said, you know what? We're not competing with you guys. And we have to see what kind of games these studios are going to make. But he's right. Nintendo and Sony have stuck by their guns, made it about the games, came out with great games that drove the console, drove the platform, and made us want sequels to those games. And they have beaten Sega. And now the next victim is Microsoft. Sony and Nintendo have beaten Microsoft. So for all those people that said Microsoft was in it to win it back in the original Xbox days, we have seen how long they were able to last. They had a good run. They just needed to carry that stuff over from the 360, and they botched it. Because I could tell you right now, If Xbox was, and this is what people need to really question themselves, if Xbox was in Sony's position, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. This would not have happened. If Xbox was winning by this much in Sony, they would not be talking about putting those games on other platforms. They wouldn't be talking about putting their games on PC. Because we've seen Microsoft in a position like this with the 360. And they locked down apps behind Xbox Live. They required devs to put demos for their arcade games. They made 1 versus 100 unique Xbox Live experiences. They made the Xbox arcade room with retro games. They made a whole digital platform store. They did a lot of innovation in the 360 era to make them different from the competition. Now, it's the old mantra. Can't beat them, join them. And that's where we are. And I'm not going to rant anymore about do better Xbox and stuff like that. All I'm going to say is they need to do better games if they want to make this venture successful. Because you're not going to win this venture with 60 Metacritics and critically poorly received games as your main driver to content. Nobody's going to waste their time. There's too much competition out there. There's too many games. You need games like outstanding games like Zelda, like Mario, like Smash Brothers, like God of War, like Horizon, like Detroit, for whatever that was. That was a great game. Maybe not the level of God of War, but great games. But you need a lineup of games because there is so much noise out there. There's so much mediocrity. There's so much pay to win. There's so much bargain bins, loot crates. There's so much crap out there that everybody wants to buy your time. And shout out to everybody, the 25 or so, 20 people, like the button, share the video, please. We got to get this out there. Sega, Microsoft Sega. We'll see. But you need that content to drive your services. And price is going to be a big factor too. But to yell at Microsoft, they say stupid things. And I'll call them out when they do dumb stuff. Because my feeling is they talk a lot of talk, right? Nah, man, nah. Well, I'm not going to touch that one, Eric. We know why. But you need content to drive your services. And the thing is that, if they do some stupid stuff, I'll call them out because I feel like they talk a big talk. They talked about the cloud. We saw what that happened. They talked about DirectX 12. We saw what happened. They talked about UWP. It's basically dead. They talked about games coming to Windows Store, ported overnight on Xbox. How many of those you've seen? 0, right? 1 or 2, maybe. They've talked about, what else they talked about? Kinect. Oh, Kinect can't be separated from Xbox. Kinect is the future. Blah, 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 blah. Kinect HoloLens. Tout that on E3 stage. Yeah. What happened? They talk a big game. And that's the problem I have with them is I think they talk too much. They talk about XCloud and it's going to be everywhere. You want to know what? It's going to come out to probably crickets. It's going to be so confusing. And I'm telling you, the casual market, they need to address that because it is going to confuse the hell out of them. But they talked about all this stuff. They talked about Groove Music. Oh, it's going to be in what was it? Forza Horizon 3 Groove Music playlists. Just to know that by next year, Groove was dead. I got a $100 Groove coupon right here. It's dead. I wasted it because I was subscribing to get Groove every year. Well, it's done. It was worth 2 months to me. But they put it in their game finally. Forza Horizon 3, just to know that by Forza 7, it was dead. Go Spotify, they said. Microsoft banned against all the smartwatches. They killed that. They kill technology on a dime. And Microsoft, Look at how Microsoft is missing the biggest thing. And this is the unfortunate thing I'm going to tell you. Xbox was their best consumer device that they made. Because PC, like they got all like HP and Asus and Dell and all that other stuff, but Xbox was a consumer device, a consumer electronic device from a company that makes software, and it was successful. Yep, and they throw everything at the wall, see if it sticks. And trust me, if Game Pass doesn't take off like the numbers that they're promising, like if they can't hit even 500,000 gamers because the content that they're rolling out is not good enough that nobody's subscribing, because I do feel that the Game Pass people are just kind of in that Skinner's box where they just got beaten enough that's like, you know what? I have to subscribe to Game Pass because it is not worth it for me not to subscribe to Game Pass and pay $60 for Sea of Thieves and pay $60 for Crackdown. It is not worth it. Like, you're almost forced to use Game Pass because it's the smart decision as a consumer. Because these games, what everybody can agree on is that these games are not worth $60. People could say, well, they're $30, they're $20. That's great. But it is $60. Go look up Crackdown 3 shopping under Google, and it is $60 everywhere. Best Buy, Amazon, Microsoft Store, everywhere. And nobody in any review agrees to be paying $60. Try it out in Game Pass. You might have some fun. So you're almost forced into Game Pass to try out the mediocrity that they're giving you. And if Game Pass and people don't find value in Game Pass with that, like these games are not even worth it for Game Pass, Microsoft will scrap it. And think about how easy it is to scrap an Xbox app rather than to scrap Xbox hardware. Because hardware, you got to pay for retailers and storage and all those stuff. Hence the reason why the Fallout 76 bundle is discounted, because they had to make room for Anthem bundles. And the Fallout 76 bundle wasn't moving because Fallout 76 was horrible from the reviews. It was a non-desirable package. So they had to liquidate it to like $350, $400 and make room for the Anthem bundle and the Metro bundle and possibly the Division 2 bundle. So now we're here. And E3, they'll show a bunch of multi-platform games. They'll show probably what they're working on, Ninja Theory, show Gears of War 5. I hope they show multiplayer because I don't want to just think that this is a story game. Like, it better show some multiplayer. And they'll probably show the new hardware and show XCloud and maybe announce C3. Announce that they're on the Switch and on mobile. And XCloud is coming to the devices. And I say, if you're an Xbox fan, a console fan, not a Microsoft fan, if you're an Xbox fan who believes green, loves the console, seeing all your content go to the competition and you not getting kind of anything back, like, and I can see maybe put Banjo and Smash, like what Microsoft gets back, nothing. Because Nintendo's in a position, they don't need to what they give Microsoft is access to their fans, access to their console users. That's what they're doing. And if you think that's a win, it is what it is. Like, that's where we are. What's up, Frogs? That's where you are. So I'm going to stick with the consoles that are delivering new games, amazing games, and have the gamer, the console gamer, let me clarify that, the console gamer as the primary point. That's where I'm going to stay. And I'm, this just reignites that, if you want to experience Xbox, just hold out. Wait. Don't line up day one for Anaconda. because there are better options out there. Nonetheless, if they still keep you subscribing for Xbox Live, then you're even more a sucker. Because not only are you buying their premium $500 piece of hardware, but now you're going to pay a premium subscription to get access that other people are getting for free. And I don't know what consumer would say, I'm going to pay for this when it is free to other people. Path of least resistance, right? If you don't have to pay for something, why would you pay for it? If you could go play Gears 5 on a Switch, I don't give a shit what resolution you're playing at. But if it is what they say it is, if it is like great streaming, hell, pay them $10 and play Gears on a Switch. Like, there you go. And don't pay for Xbox Live. I'm experiencing it now PC. I got to play Crackdown multiplayer. It sucked, but I got to play it for free. I played Gears of War for multiplayer for free. I just boot up the PC. It's free. There's no subscription. There's nothing. I bought Gears of War 4. Hey, play it on free with everybody else. And I see all the people. And don't you think the other problem thing is that all those people that pay $60, they're throwing people from PC, possibly from Nintendo, all into your gaming pool? Like, so your Xbox Live subscription can't even guarantee you an even playing field. Which that's the whole reason why Xbox Live became popular. Because it wasn't and against all PC with varying configurations and hotkeys and all this other stuff. Xbox Live was a competitive playing field of equal competitors on equal hardware. That's why a lot of people so signed up for it. That's why the scoreboards were relevant. That's why your gamer tag and achievements, all that stuff was relevant because it was a unified platform. It was a unique platform, the same hardware, the same experience. Everybody was competing on an equal playing field. Now, you pay that same subscription, but you got Johnny on his phone, Fred on his power rig, Andrew on his Surface tablet, Gloria on her iPad, and Timmy and Tommy on their Switch. All being thrown into your games. Now, maybe you have an advantage over them, or maybe the PC rig has an advantage over you. And it's up to the developers to decide on how to organize that. And how would they organize a streaming platform? If you're tapping into Xbox One hardware through a streaming service, you're not going to get blocked. You're just accessing an Xbox via the cloud. Is that going to be a good experience? We don't know. But you want to talk about, why is that guy lagging? Is he switching out? Why is that guy lagging? Oh, he's probably on a Switch, or he's on a phone somewhere trying to play you online, who's playing a premium service, $60 a year for equal playing ground. When Fred is glitching all over the place because he's on an iPhone somewhere in Germany trying to play you on some Starbucks Wi-Fi in Germany, if there's a Starbucks out there. That's premium. Microsoft thinks it is. Do you? I don't. That's why I don't pay for it. Damn. Anthem down to a 6. Shoo. For people who said that this month was stacked with games, they're right, but man, they are getting killed. I think everybody's going to go back to launching stuff in the fall. I'm sorry, man. No, I'm not talking about bad Germany. Sorry, man. I like Germany a lot, actually. I just was pulling a country out my ass. But I love Germany. Germany has amazing food. I have to say that, man. I was in Munich, and I was in where's the Gamescom used to be held? I went there. Where is that? That is in where is that place? Oh, I forgot now. Not Stock. I was in Munich for New Year's, and then I was in the beer. Yo, man, the beer. I'm gonna tell you, the beer was insane, but the pretzels. Yeah, that's right, Cologne. The pretzel. I haven't seen pretzels in my entire life. They were huge. They were like in one window by itself, a friggin' pretzel. Germany got some good ass food, and I'm Italian. And you know what? I like, Italian food's good, but man, Germany, woo. But anyway, you know what I mean. You're going to be having people from all over the world on fun, and they probably have better, faster network than we do, actually, over there. European network is so much faster than mobile than what we have in the United States. But you're going to have people basically possibly ruining your experience. And we've seen it with Sea of Thieves. We've seen it. PC players have found a way to double gun and to use macro keys and ruin the Xbox player's experience, that after a year of this abuse, that the developer has decided to make the Xbox player finally choose not to play with a PC player, which basically breaks the world that Phil wants. Phil wants everybody to play anywhere, right? On any device, no matter where you are. And yeah. And that's the thing. Like, he wants you to play anywhere. But if you could just say, I don't want to play with those guys, you're breaking Phil's heart. You break his heart because that's not the world he wants. And it just shows that Microsoft is just all talk, and the implementation is going to be the real deal. And I'll be here when they implement this stuff. And I will point out the things they didn't tell us when they were promising this world peace between all PC, cell phone, and console gamers as Microsoft turns into the app. I expect next E3 to have shirts with an Xbox app on them. And, do you see people lining up for Amazon? Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. No. When you are ubiquitous, it's really hard to maintain a strong core fan base. Sale Clark, these brothers drink. You're breaking Phil's heart when you say, I don't want to play with PC games. You're breaking his heart. And Satya, a little tear drops down their face because that's not the world they want. But the problem is that with great power comes great responsibility. And if they really want to harness all the people in the world and play with everybody across all devices, then they need to man up or woman up. They got to stand up and make sure that they are taking the precautions to make this work. Not just throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. Not just leave it up to the developer going, you figure it out. Because that's what they're doing. You figure it out, Dev. But Microsoft's the one that's driving the car. So you really need to see, how would you drive if you're driving the car saying, guys, I'm taking us to this place. And then the driver looks back at you and go, you figure out how we get there because I don't know where I'm going. That's Microsoft. They're driving this Xbox car. And they're telling the devs in the back seat, you figure out where I turn. I don't know. I'm just telling you where I want to go. You figure it out. The dev is not going to waste their time figuring it out if you are not very productive in sales. Like if your console you're the third tier, and we see it today. If you're third tier Microsoft, the devs they're not giving you that extra time to figure it out. You got to be more relevant. Because I bet you if Sony says you figure it out, they're going to be like, oh, hell yeah. because you're the console lead. Microsoft is really not in a position right now to say figure it out. Microsoft's in a position to lead, and they're trying by putting their games. They sold their soul to the devil. They put all their games in Game Pass. They just took their IP and dumped it on the Windows 10 store. And now they're dumping it into Game Pass. And now they want to dump it onto the Switch. It's like liquidation sale. They're just liquidating. Instead, what they should be doing is honing in and ensuring that they deliver the best quality that gives them a demand, that makes them relevant. And not saying that Sega's not relevant, but Sega is not what it was. They struggled to get their Sonic games to be what they used to be. And Sonic was all right. I was not a huge fan of Sonic. But they struggle with Sonic Team to try to figure out what they want. And people just want the retro Sega back. But Microsoft, they used the Sega momentum to propel the 360. And now they're using the Sega demise to stay afloat as Xbox. And that's it. They're fly tipping their games. That's right, buddy boy. And you know what? There's no more do better, Microsoft. Be the behemoth like Isaiah says. He used to say. Bleed green. You're going to dominate next generation. If they dominate next generation, it is not going to be dominating in the traditional sense of how Sony has dominated PlayStation 5 or how Microsoft really competed with the 360. It is going to be an app. And I don't know what fans celebrate an app. Usually you celebrate something that's unique to you, to your platform. That's where a fan comes from, you know? That's where you could be a fan of it, but the people, the creme de la creme who they're targeting is really just getting smaller and smaller. I see it on Twitter. I see back to my tweets in 2016, 2015, when Microsoft, I felt, had momentum going. The S sold. They won MPD. Gears of War was coming out. Gears of War 4. I saw the best lineup with Tomb Raider. They got that deal. They got the Halo 5. They had Gears Ultimate. Man, I'm like, whoa, Microsoft is fighting. And I think what happened was that those things really didn't change the momentum. And slowly but surely, people are just like, it's done, man. They're fading out. But I can't think we could really compare Microsoft comeback to like what Sony did with the PlayStation 4 or like what Nintendo did with the Switch. Because Microsoft is not coming back as a console domination. Microsoft is now coming back as a ubiquitous app that is on competition. It was enough to let Reggie Fils-Aimé retire. Reggie's like, that's it. We killed Microsoft. I'm out. I'm done. Microsoft, I did my job. He's like Thanos. He's like, yeah, that's it. Walk in the fields of gold. We got another victim. We got Sega out of here. I got Sonic on my Switch. Now I'm getting Halo on my Nintendo platform. Reggie's like, peace. See you later, guys. Yeah, but Zaire doesn't do that. Like, Zaire agrees. He's the same frustration. When I listen to his stuff, he's the same frustration that I experience. It's just sad watching how it came from infancy, relevant, and then just failed and has shown its demise. And that's the unfortunate thing. As being an Xbox fan from the beginning, just watching it grow, watching it gain momentum, and innovating, showing new stuff. And yeah, old man, you're right. The Wii did win in sales, but I think whoever bought a Wii, we all lost. Because the waggle thing really messed up last generation. Everybody went motion, all the other stuff. But the Wii did win out overall. It had momentum. It shook them up. But I'm talking more about, we can't deny that the 360 was something that it was Microsoft's high point. Relative to when Nintendo was a Sony, it didn't make them irrelevant. It actually made them gain relevance and be serious in the console space and give new stuff. Yeah, the Wii sold a lot in the beginning, but then it tailed off. It was a fad. It was a long fad, but it was a fad. Man, I remember when that Wii Play, that game, that remote game. But Microsoft always had a problem with global, and I think that's another reason why they're turning into this, is that they can't really penetrate the global market. I think that was one of the big differences with the 360, that at least they got into that United Kingdom, and Europe. They were able to tap a little bit into that market. But here they just didn't. And I think a problem with the Xbox launch, with their integration with TV, it made them have to have staggered launches across the world because of that stupid TV stuff. But you know what? I want to thank you to 40 people watching. I want to hit like button, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate all the support. And, I'm just going to wrap it up as this, is that it's, and I said it. I said last year, I was like, 2019 is going to be some crazy ass year. It's going to be new consoles, new hardware, services. Phil said that 2019 needs to, it's going to be them implementing this stuff. And it's true, man. It's true. And we're going to see it. And these rumors, Scalebound going to Switch, Microsoft Game Pass, Ori, Cuphead. Oh, man. And it's an untapped market. But we'll see. Because we thought that PC, I thought Gears 4 was going to go gangbusters on PC, and it didn't. So in practice, maybe the sounds work, it works. But I think to what one of the guys said in the chat, where Nintendo fans really, there's, like I said, there's a culture. Gaming is different. Gaming is different across platforms. There's a culture. Yeah, right. I think, Frogs, what's sad is that all these games that were hyped are getting just horrible reviews. 2019 is going to be worse. But I don't want to say it because it might sound like a fan, but I think only Sony and Nintendo could save this year. Because the quality and drop-off in games, man, it's rough. And I played some Dreams. Dreams is good, but it's not going to be no savior. But I think, I think the fact that Sony being quiet, I know what I'm going to tell you this. This might sound crazy, but the fact that Sony is being quiet, it's really letting the shit come to the surface. We're really seeing third party just being kind of loot cratey and just not polished. Apex Legends was the exception. But all these other games, and Metro I didn't play yet, but and Resident Evil is a remake. But other games like Crackdown, like Anthem, and Dead or Alive 6, we will see. It's showing sign of this quality is coming up, and it's really making Sony step away and going we could bring you these quality games. And him and Sean Layden talking about quality over everything. And then you see the bugs and all that stuff in Anthem, and we'll fix it day one. What a disastrous launch, and Crackdown what not being what it was. It's starting to show where other games sit quality wise. And I do think that gamer and possibly reviewer tolerability is changing. I think when you get games that are of the quality from other studios and other developers, and then you do a side eye to some of these third parties going, you're shipping it like that? I just played friggin' Spider-Man. I just played this masterpiece God of War. Detroit. I played these amazing polished games. And I think reviewers, after giving games of the years and all the stuff to these amazing games, got some games early on this year, and they're like, that's unacceptable. You got to step up your game. And I think maybe that's why they're a little harsh, because they're coming off games of the year and games that were amazing. And who knows if, but Sony seems like they're targeting that stuff. And, you know, and if they really step aside and give that quality, and their next game is quality, and Dreams got such a response. That's why the best stuff is going to come to the top. And Microsoft really needs to deliver some unique content if they want to stay relevant. Yeah, I agree, Eric. Yeah. And I think a lot of those like it was like a celebration in gaming, and then coming in and going Anthem, Crackdown, ship without a party. Like, this is unacceptable, especially this far in the generation. This is not a launch game. Oh, 2 to 3 weeks to fix Crackdown, to invite your friends in a multiplayer that has 3 maps, no progression, no unlocks. In 2019? Man, that's a huge L from the people who have you paying a subscription to pay online. But we will see. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. And, you know, there's been grinding my gears, stating how I feel. Comment, grinders out there, on what grinds your gears. Like, share the video, sign up over on Twitter. Did some funny tweets. Game is already dead. Already dead. And yeah, Activision. Hey, I could go on and on and on. You guys keep me going on here. But I want to thank you. I got to wrap it up. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much again coming out. Share, like the video, and comment below on what grinds your gears. Grinders, I'm out. Thank you very much.